Selfies that were taken right before death, Part 1. In 2014, Oscar Reyes participated in the Selfie Olympics and took a photo of himself hanging from his bathroom door. A few seconds later, he slipped and fell, hitting his head on the toilet and dying from severe blood loss. Andrew Macaulay attempted to be the first man to kayak from Australia to New Zealand. He took this selfie and texted his family that he would be home soon, but drowned just 30 miles away from the finish line. In 2011, 3 teens in Utah took this selfie together on the train tracks. It appears to be a happy, ordinary photo, but the glare on the right side of the screen is from the train that runs into them just a few seconds later.
This is why you should never explore caves. In 2010, a man named Jeff who really loved to explore caves took a plane down to Madagascar. There was a huge, super cool cave that he had explored a few years back, so he wanted to check it out again. About half of the cave was at an angle going down. This part of the cave was over 150 feet long and just 3 feet wide. And after climbing through that, there was a tunnel that dropped straight down over 50 feet to the bottom. Once down there, there would be a small area to walk around in with some light. Things were going great for Jeff until he reached the drop. He began to hear things around him, so he turned on his light. And as soon as he did, he saw thousands of black widow spiders climbing on the cave walls. They were all over his clothes, skin, and gear. Having no choice, Jeff was forced to climb all the way to the bottom of the cave, grab new gear, and climb to the top. After making it to the top and brushing off several spiders, Jeff realized that he didn't get bit, and he nicknamed the spot the Hellhole.
There's a legend that says that if you look at the moon for too long, you'll see a haunting face smile back at you. Now, the man in the moon has been a common saying for a very long time. Think of all the cartoons and movies that show like a cartoon face on the moon. Because the moon isn't an even surface, you can visibly see the bumps and shadows when you look at it. And for years, people have been saying that those shadows resemble a human face. But there's actually a lot of creepy stories about people who have seen the more sinister version of this face. There have been people that have reported being out on a nightly stroll looking up at the moon and seeing it blink back at them as if it was alive watching them. There was a story about a man who was camping in the middle of a forest and he got up in the middle of the night to go to the washroom. He looked up at the moon and he could have sworn it repeatedly whispered his name. He said he saw the mouth of this face moving and everything. There's this creepypasta that says that if you stare at the moon for too long trying to find this face, it will show up in your dreams at night, which seems like a pretty creepy thing to think about. Imagine just like having a nice dream and suddenly this creepy moon face pops up. No, thank you.
Scariest Snapchats ever taken, Part 2. We all have used Snapchat before, whether it's sending a streak or sending a selfie. If you remember yesterday's video, I talked about a user named Skinna555, but there's more to the story. A week after the Snapchat videos started to go viral, he started to feel like he was being watched in his own home. So to take his mind off things, he went to go play games on the computer until around 10:15 p.m. when he heard a loud bang. He picked up his phone and started recording and quietly made his way downstairs. Here's the unedited version of the video. You probably didn't see anything, right? Now let's turn the brightness up. There is literally a person in the corner of that room. Skinna555 ended up filing a police report and the police watched the videos and confirmed that was a person. But the weird thing is the police checked all the windows and the doors and there was never any sign of break-in. So was this a person or something much darker? Make sure to like and follow for more videos.
Most unusual deaths in human history, Part 2. In 2014, a 23-year-old Indian soccer player named Peter Biak Singzula scored a goal and did a somersault to celebrate. However, he landed awkwardly on his neck and died due to spinal cord injuries. A 25-year-old man named Akbar Salabiro went missing on March 25, 2017. His remains were found 2 weeks later inside the body of a reticulated python, meaning that this was the first case of a snake swallowing an adult human whole. Kenneth Pinion, an engineer from Washington, and 2 other men filmed and uploaded videos of Kenneth making love to a stallion under the alias Mr. Hands. In one particular video, Kenneth received fatal injuries from the horse, dying of a perforated colon. A 28-year-old Japanese man with intellectual disabilities named Hayato Terata ran away from his living facility and into a grocery store. It was there that he ate so many donuts that he choked to death.
North Korea might have the scariest hotel in the world. It is called the Ryuyong Hotel. And I know it doesn't look scary, but it has a much more sinister backstory. The building was finished in 1992, but it was windowless and hollow for 16 years. It was just a concrete building looking over the city. Kim Jong-un wanted this hotel to be the biggest and best in the world. But to this day, it is completely empty and hollow inside. It is the world's tallest unoccupied building. The Ruyang is over 1,000 feet tall. The hotel finally got glass on it, but only to put LED lights on it so it lights up at night, making it even more sinister knowing that it's completely empty inside. What is North Korea planning to do with this building? And why has it been empty for almost 20 years?
This story's called Can You Hear It Now? Late one night, a little girl walks down the staircase of her house into the lounge room where her parents are sitting with a blanket over her head, scared to death, and says, "Can you hear it breathing?" "I can." Her parents sitting there watching TV just laugh at her and yell at her to go back to bed. Not too long later, the little girl hears her mum's blood-curdling screams and goes back down the stairs. As she walks into the room, she sees her father's decapitated head laying on the ground and his body still upright facing the TV. Her mother is riddled with fear, sitting straight across from her father, her hair being blown around by the breath of someone close to her. The little girl takes the blanket off her head and says, "I bet you can hear his breathing now."